Hello, today I'm going to look at Exoplanets from Greater Than Games, and apologize if I mispronounce, but Przemysław Szwarczynski from 2017. It's developing planets in a star system. Kind of interested in how it plays. I haven't heard much about it. Looks very interesting though. Exoplanets, explore, terraform, evolve. In exoplanets, you and others will contribute to the creation of an entire planetary system. Your role is to expand the system using terraforming skills to create planet interdependencies, which will provide valuable resources. These resources will allow you and others to create new life on the planet's surfaces, eventually evolving those life forms into new species. You also plumb the depths of space for new ways to influence planets, possibly making the game easier for yourself or more difficult for your opponents. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 13 plus, and it says it's 40 to 60 minutes. Box looks good. Art is good. Credits, published by Greater Than Games, under license from Board and Dice LLC. Cover art, Nolan Nasser. Game and art designer, Przemysław Szwarczynski. Game developer, Philip Glowitz. Looking at the components, first of all the rulebook, 8-page rulebook. A lot of good examples. Seems to be well done. And the object of the game is to have the most creation points at the end of the game. And the sequence is you go from player to player, and each player does phase 1, birth of a planet in the system, then a phase 2 of evolution and immediate effects. And there's 4 pages of advanced or optional rules you can use. It's an expansion of it, where you can do gravity, talks how gravity works, some deep space effects, stars. You have different types of star cores that have different abilities: chaotic star, dynamic star, red dwarf star, and blue giants. Then you can also add a 5th player, and it shows how to set up the expansion. Variations in gameplay. Then there's 5 of these reference cards that are 2-sided. They're all the same. One for each of the players. On one side it shows the key for the effects. They're on the bottom of the space tiles. For instance, this would be at the end of the game, the number of creation points for planets adjacent to this planet is increased by 3. Let's indicate down here. And others take 2 resources. Take 2 resources from Dust Cloud. Then on the other side are the space goals reference. So for instance, extreme conditions, you'd find that here. Create a species on 2 planets, one in the first and one in the last orbit. The side of the star is irrelevant. And if you achieve that goal, you get this many creation points at the end of the game. And here's the life and species markers for the up to 5 players. They're all, wooden kind of blocks here. These are the life markers, these are the species markers. Once you've achieved developing life to 4 levels, or 4 lives on a planet, that becomes a species. So 4 of these equals one of these. And each player has 4 species markers and 6 life markers. And these 3 are resources that are available from the cosmic cloud. And they start off the side, and then you retrieve these items from the cosmic cloud for your use in play, or put them back in the cosmic cloud. And it's energy markers, water markers, and gas markers. And in the expansion, these are gravity markers. But the gravity markers aren't used in the base game. There's 40 energy markers, 20 water markers, 20 gas markers, and there's 20 gravity markers. And they come in these handy little storage plastic boxes, which is handy. These are the special effects tiles. These three, Creation, Black Hole, and Solar Storm, are used in the base game. Gravitation is used in the expansion game. The fusion tile causes the appearance of a black hole. So when all these are fusion markers. When all the fusion markers are off the tile, an event occurs, which is a black hole. And then the solar storm tile has these solar flare markers. And this is also activated when all the flare markers are off the tile, which are indicated by this symbol. The creation tile. These are stimulation markers. And when all these are removed from the creation tile, each player has to exchange all of their stimulation markers they have for resources from the cosmic dust cloud. And the gravitation tile. This is used in the advanced game. In gravity in the advanced game, you can exchange. When you place a new planet tile in the planetary system, you must take one gravity marker. And then you can exchange any resource plus a gravity marker for any resource. And also in a 2 to 3 player game, you can use 3 gravity markers to remove one chosen space tile from beneath a planet tile. In a 4 player game, you can use 2 gravity markers to remove a space tile. These tiles, this is the star tile with the ring and the core that goes in here. And around here shows the orientations of the planets. So they would go, this one would go in this direction. If you look kind of where the bottom is there. And for the expansion game, these are different star cores. There's a chaotic core, a red dwarf, dynamic, and a blue giant. Chaotic core affects variations of how you do life on planets. Dynamic, when you add a new planet tile, you can achieve different resources depending on what side of the star this new planet is placed. Red dwarf, if you choose to draw 2 planet tiles, when adding a planet, you may return 1 resource of any type to the cosmic dust out of place those tiles in any order on the planet reserve, or draw 2 new planet tiles. The blue giant, when you add a new planet to the system during phase 1, you may either return 1 life marker to the player's pool from a chosen planet. In return, the player takes as many resources of any kind as the level of life creation costs on the chosen planet. Or you may discard a space tile from your hand and take 3 resources of any kind from the cosmic dust cloud. I'm not sure what this black ring is for. It doesn't seem to mention it in the rules. These are the planet tiles. They differ from the space tiles in that they have this like jagged edge on the bottom. There's 31 of them, and they're all unique, which is nice. And on one side they have kind of a generic representation, but on the other they show the detail of them. The symbol up here is the type of planet, this little circle. Either rocky, which is the gray, super Earth, which is the green, gaseous planet, which is the purple, or ocean planet, which is the blue. Then you have the life creation costs. It shows the Shows the resources you need. And this one you need water and gas. This one you need energy, water, gas, just energy here. And here you can either, this indicates it's variable, you can either use energy or water in this case. These are the obtainable resources. When you place planets adjacent, these are the resources you gain. So if these planets were placed, you would look at these symbols, so you'd get a water and a gas. And during play, when you randomly draw planets, you put them in this planet bag, which is nice to have a area to randomly draw things. And there's 39 of these space tiles. So you have, on each of these you have a goal, and then you have effects. You can do one or the other in one of the phases. Goals and effects. If you use an effect, you'd use that tile and get the bonuses of that. Otherwise you have the tile and use it for creation points at the end if you achieve a goal. And the goals are, the numbers here indicate the number of the goal on the card. Most of them are related to creating species on planets. Some are related to creating your life. For instance, species and gases. You would get 4 creation points for that. And if you create 2 species on 2 gaseous planets, you would get that, you would achieve that goal. Then there's effects that you can use these cards, for, and there's either permanent effects or immediate effects. The permanent effects have this blue background on here. Immediate effects have the gray. The permanent effects, you place them under the planet tiles you use on, so it kind of goes like that. And there's a key for what those are on this card. So for instance, this would be the cost of life, creation, and evolution for this planet is decreased by 1 energy marker, and they all have a code here. And then when you use these effects, this indicates whether you get a fusion or a flare indicator. This indicates when you play that card if you get a fusion or flare indicator. Here would be a fusion, and this would indicate that you get a flare marker. And some of these benefits, and some of these cards are benefits to you, and some are negative effects that can be used against other players. Then there's a bunch of these small effects tokens which can be placed on planets as indicators, and there's 68 of them. And when you use them, you place them on planets to indicate effects. Here's the unique indicator tokens. These are the same, and these first 3 are the same on both sides. Indicates plus energy resource, plus gas resource, plus water resource. These have a negative value on one side and a plus on the other. This is -2 creation points, +2 creation points, -3 and +3 creation points. Then I'll demonstrate the rules by going through a setup and play. I'll be doing a 2-player game. Getting to set up here. First of all, you place the star tile, and then you place a number of energy markers corresponding to how many you're playing. For a 2-player game, you put 10 energy in there. For a 3-player, you put 15. And for 4 players, you do 20 energy markers, and the game is for 2 to 4 players. Then you place the planet tiles. Put all the planet tiles in the space bag, and you take out 4 randomly. It's nice that they have a bag for doing this randomization. These are the planet tiles. And then you place them in the orbits, in the orbital direction corresponding to the symbol here. So for instance here, you see the jagged edge down here, it corresponds to that. That's their orbital directions in the planet tiles. And then you randomly take space tiles and you put them outward from where the planets are. For a 2-player game, you have 3 space tiles that go outward radially. For 3 players, you have 4, and for 4 players, you have 5. So we'll just draw them randomly from the pile. Put them face down. Then you place these special effects tiles. There's the creation, solar storm, and black hole. You put stimulation markers, they're the white ones. And how many you place there is dependent on the players. For 2 players you put 4, 3 you put 6, and 4 you put 8. I'm doing 2 players, so there's 4. On the solar storm, you put the solar flare markers, which are the red markers. And for 2 players you put 3, and then for 3 and 4 players you put all 4. On the black hole tile, you put fusion markers, which are the black markers. For 2 players you put 3, and for 3 and 4 players you put all 4. And you place the life-giving resources, energy, water, and gas, so that they're available to the players. And these basically form the cosmic dust cloud. And draw 2 planet tiles from the space bag. That's the planet reserve piles. Then each player chooses a color and takes all the life markers and species markers of that color. So it'll be player green and player yellow. And they each have their 4 species markers and 6 life markers. I mean, they're made out of wood, but I mean they actually kind of convey what they're trying to do here. They work all right. Each player starts the game with 1 energy, 1 gas, and 1 water. And each player randomly takes 3 space tiles. And they secretly choose 2 of those 3 to keep. Green will take colonization and rocks and oceans. Keep those secret. Yellow will take oceans and gases and species and oceans. Keep those secret. And then they each take a reference card. After they take their space tiles, all the rest will just be returned to the box. They won't be used in play. Then we're ready to start play. The copy I got came with the base game and then also the Great Expanse expansion. So I'm just going to do the base game here, but in the expansion you can incorporate gravity. You can do some deep space effects. And you have different stars, different star cores that you can do to have different effects of the star. But there's enough in the base game, I'll be doing that. And the game is played by alternating turns between players, and each player turn has 2 phases. I'll have green go first. Phase 1 is the birth of a planet in the system, and then phase 2 is evolution and immediate effects. So doing phase 1, choose a planet tile. The options are you can either draw 2 planet tiles from the space bag, or choose 1 planet tile from the top of either planet reserve pile. I'll go with the option of drawing 2 tiles out of the space bag. These are the 2 I get. Of the 2 you choose, you get to take one. I'll be taking this one. And then you place the planet tile. You choose a place currently occupied by a space tile. Take that space tile into your hand and put a planet tile in its place. Can be added to any side of the star tile, but must be played adjacent to an existing planet tile. It must match the neighboring planet in alignment. When you take the space tile, do not reveal it to other players. So I'll build it up down here. Take the space tile and put it in here. It's got the same alignment as that one. And keep this secret from other players, but I get extreme conditions. If it's purple like these are both gaseous planets. Then from placing the tile there, when you create a new planet, you get an energy from the sun. And then you also get the resources of the 2 planets as they face each other. So here you'd have a gas, and here you have an energy, so you get one of each of those. Then phase 2 is the evolution and immediate effects. It's where you can create life. You can also achieve goals and play immediate effects of your space tiles. Take the actions in the order you wish, as many times as you're able. Limited only by your resources and space tiles. First day of creation and development of life. You look at the life resources required in each, and you can develop life from level 1 to level 4, and then after that it becomes a species. So I have green has 3 energy, 2 gas, and 1 water. Since he has a lot of energy, he'll focus on using that. He'll put 1 energy here to develop 1 level of life. Put the marker there. Here you can have energy or water. And these are combinations. This one's energy and gas. He'll do this one. And when you use your resource, you put it back to the cosmic cloud. This takes 1 energy and 1 gas to put a life. Now he's got 1 of each, so he'll use 1 energy, 1 gas, and 1 water to put a life on this planet. And then I'm out of resources. Create life on 3 planets, so he gets 3 stimulation tiles, which you take from the creation here. And in phase 2, after creating planets, you looked at and see if you can achieve goals on your space tiles, or use the space tiles for their immediate effects. And this is where the reference sheet comes in. So if these are the levels of creation points you get at the end of the game if you achieve these goals. For extreme conditions, if you create a species on 2 planets, 1 in the first and 1 in the last orbit, you achieve that goal. Rocks and oceans, create species on 2 types of planets, rocky and oceanic, then you would achieve that goal. And colonization, if you create a species on each of 2 adjacent planets, it's colonization. I don't have any species yet, so I can't do those. But then the immediate effects that I could do. So the immediate effect, this one is, at the end of the game, the number of creation points for planets adjacent to this planet is increased by 3 for all players. On this one, the cost of life creation and evolution for this planet is decreased by 1 water marker. This one, take a number of resources from dust cloud equal to the level of life on this planet, maximum 4. I'll use the colonization to take number of resources equal to the life of the planet. And space tiles have either immediate effects or permanent effects. When there's a blue background down here, that's a permanent effect, so colonization is a permanent effect. A immediate effect is if there's a gray background, and for these you just use them and then discard them. But for the permanent effects like colonization, you would put that under the world, and we're doing it on, we'll do it on this world here. And also when you play them, when you do the effects, not the goals, you get either a solar flare marker or a fusion marker. And since he's playing that, he gets a fusion marker. Then you place this under the world. So you can see the effect there. And you can do as many as you want. And he got a resource for that, since this indicates that you take our number of resources from the dust cloud equal to the level of life on the planet. There's 1 life of the planet. So he'll take 1 energy. Then there's the immediate or permanent effect. In this case, a permanent effect, since it has a blue background, is the cost of life creation and evolution for this planet is decreased by 1 water marker. He'll use that up here, and he gets he'll take a solar flare for that, since that's what that symbol is. He'll put it under this world. And that's all he'll be doing his turn. And then we go to yellow. And you keep playing until all these energy markers have been taken out of the sun. So first you, again, phase 1 is the birth of a planet in the system. You can either take 1 from the planet reserve pile or take 2 from the bag and then choose from 1. So he'll decide to take 1 from the reserve pile instead of taking a couple from the bag. If you take a couple from the bag, you randomly do it and then you choose 1. But he'll go ahead and take this one, because potential of getting energy resource there, which is good. And then he'll take 1 from the bag randomly to put on the planet reserve, one of the planet reserve piles. There always has to be 1 there. So with this one, he'll choose where to place it. You'll place it over here. And the space tile he got is on the same side, so he's that. And then he gets an energy for creating a planet. And then you get resources for this planet. Then you get the 2 resources lined up on the adjoining planet and that planet. So you get 1 water and 1 energy. Then developing life. Any number of players can develop life on the same planet, so he could go on these planets if he wants. So what he has is 3 energy, 2 water, and 1 gas. We'll see what he can do. This one requires 1 energy. He'll do this one. he'll put one life there. And then it'll put that to the cosmic gas cloud, which is, the storage area. Over here, takes one gas, one water, one energy. You'll create a life there. Then you'll take one of each of those and put them in the storage area. Now he has one energy and one water left. You can develop this one with either one energy or one water. So he'll use one water here to put a life here. And he has one more energy, and he'll develop one more life on this planet. And then every time you generate a life, you get a creation disk. He gets one. And now that this creation disk is empty, since there's no more simulation disk on here, the creation disk is activated. And for every 2 creation disks somebody has, they have to exchange that for a resource and put it back. He has 3, so he'll exchange 2, put them back, and he'll take water. Then he has 1 left over, but he needs 2, he can't use that. And he only has 1, so he doesn't get to exchange for any, he needs 2. Let's go back. And again, stimulation markers for each planet you create life on, not the number of lives you create. So since he's got 4 lives he created, but they're on 3 planets, so he gets 3 total. He got 1 already, and he has 2 left to take now. And similarly, when the black hole disk or the solar storm disk are emptied of their markers, an event happens. And for the black hole, it affects every player that has at least 1 fusion marker. And when the last one is taken, each player that has 1 or more fusion markers must discard 1 space tile from their hand. For the solar storm, it affects each player that has at least 1 solar flare marker. When the last solar flare marker is taken, each player who has 1 or more solar flare marker loses 2 gas markers. And also the player or players with the most solar flare markers lose an additional water marker. But we haven't depleted those yet. And he'll then look at what options he has for space tiles. He's got species and oceans for a goal, oceans and gases for a goal, and on the same side for a goal. Again, referencing this sheet. Species and oceans. If you create 2 species on 2 oceanic planets, oceans and gases, create a species on 2 types of planets, gaseous and oceanic. And on the same side, create species on 2 planets which are both on the same side of the star. And again, these are related to creating species. And you create a species when you have placed 4 life markers, and then it on the 4th one it becomes a species and you replace them. But it doesn't have those yet, so we'll look at the effects here. These are all permanent effects. So in the cost of life creation, evolution for all planets on this side of the star is increased by 1 gas marker. So it's, I guess, detrimental. The symbol, at the end of the game, the number of creation points for the planet adjacent planet is decreased by 3. And the cost of life creation evolution for all planets in this orbit is And then this indicator, the cost of life creation and evolution for this planet is decreased by 1 gas marker. That sounds good. So that's something he'll want on one of his planets that has gas, which is this one. So since this one doesn't need gas anymore, he will, and he gets a solar flare marker for that. And you put it under here. And now since this planet normally would require energy, water, and gas, now it only just requires energy and water. It's a few turns off yet before we get to species, but once you have 3 lives and then add 1 more, so a total of 4 lives, that becomes a species. And then if other players have life on that planet, those lives are removed, and for each life the other players remove from the planet, they get a resource from the cosmic cloud. Then the game ends when all these energy markers are out of the sun here. And then you do the scoring. You get up all the creation points for life species markers. Each marker has a base value. Life markers have a value of 1, species of 5. Species markers have a value of 5. Then you multiply that by the number of life-giving resources required to develop life on that planet. So if you have 2 life markers on a planet with life creation cost, so for instance here you have 2 life markers on a creation cost of 1, that'd be 2. Or here you have 1 life on a creation resources of 3, so it'd be 3. But if you had 2 there, the total would be 6. And then you add up all the creation points gained from goals achieved during a game. So for instance, if you had species and oceans, you would get 4 for that. And then you add up all positive and negative modifiers from the space tiles played under the planet tiles. So for instance, for this one, at the end of the game, the number of creation points for all planets players in this orbit is increased by 2. So that gives you a sense of the play. Hopefully that helps. So that's my look at Exoplanets through Greater Than Games from 2017. I enjoyed it. It's a good game. I wouldn't put it up with my top tier games, but it's a good game, and I'll play it again. The components are very well done. It's unique. It reminds me a bit of terraforming Mars, except it's developing systems instead of a planet. So it has a bit of that feel to that, and it's got kind of a Euro kind of feel to it with the components and everything. And there's no dice, but you get randomization by the different planets and by different space tokens, which have permanent abilities or immediate abilities, and then it's interesting how they manage. The timer is how much, taking the energy from the sun, which kind of makes sense. You're taking the energy from the sun to create life, or so that kind of makes sense. And then how it progresses from life forms to species is interesting, and the fact that you take your resources of gas, water, and energy kind of makes sense. And you have solar flares, and you have effects of black holes as well, which is interesting. So it's got a lot going for it. It's kind of a different kind of game for me than the ones I usually do, but quite enjoy it, and it probably plays really well with multiple players, I would imagine. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Thanks a lot.